Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Untitled Reviews. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are dramas. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Squid Game Season 3, Episode 5, the penultimate episode. A great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Let's start off with number 11, or Noel's side of the story. Now, something that never crossed my mind before is, well, it's not until she went through the vents this episode. I was like, oh, funny. Sabiak went through the vents in episode, was that 2? It was like right before the second game. No, that was episode 3. She went through the vents because they came back at the end of episode 2. Either way, I thought that was interesting. But I didn't think about that in episode 3 when she went through the vents. But there's also the element of she's from North Korea. Sabiak was also from North Korea. I don't think I even correlated or even pieced that together or thought about that at all during season 2. That she is, in all intents and purposes, playing it like she is kind of the new Sabiak a lot of ways in this team. But either way, tangents and all that aside, her sneaking around and confronting God, I forgot what his name, like its official title is. He's kind of the guy running things while Inho is busy, keeping the while he was playing the game, and also now while he's entertaining the VIPs. The guy that she kind of took orders from, which we ended up finding out he was also from North Korea. That's actually why he took an interest in Noel, because he's like, oh, we're the same. And he's like, because of that, I thought you were special. Because she had to leave her child behind in North Korea. He had to leave someone else that he loved and cared about behind. So he's like, we're kindred spirits. I thought it kind of make you strong. It takes a certain type of person to have the strength to do something heartbreaking like that. So that's why he took such a special interest in her. And he's like, I can't believe you're doing all this. He's like, I thought I knew you. But she's like, if you knew me the way you thought you did, then you would know I would never do something like turn 246 over. So we're gonna go delete his files, and okay, and now I'm gonna have to kill you because I can't let anyone know what's what. Once again, there's still people who are on this guy's side who know what's up, so you would have to silence them too. But I guess she thinks, like, if I can get rid of you, get rid of any files, he's the only one that has direct access to the files. So it's like, as long as 246 gets away, they won't have any records to track him down. They're not gonna, like, he's the only one that has that information on file. Because I wonder, did Inho have any input? Like, I mean, obviously it's 456 contestants. You're not going to have them all memorized. So it's most likely like, yeah, you're not going to remember 246. You didn't get to know him. And once again, it's probably this dude's job to look over all that information. So he's the one with all the knowledge. So he's got at least this profile memorized. So he has to at least go, even if like the files get deleted, they might, 246, but they probably would still have a way of tracking him down even without these records. So it's probably not that big of a concern. But he's able to keep himself alive longer by telling her, hey, there's a hard copy in the frontman's office where like all the files are. They go up the elevator. He tries to like turn the tides on her, turns into a giant scuffle. The gun gets left in the elevator. So now they're tussling it out hand to hand. He comes out on top, pulls out a knife. It was like after he I think he might have had the knife already, but definitely like after he like smashed the glass over her head. We find out like, I think that was specifically how he lost someone, is because they needed a kidney and he couldn't get one, even though there's plenty here. So it's really sad. I was about to say, and maybe that's also his correlation and connection to Inho. Inho wanted to, like, I don't remember if it was kidneys exactly, but it was specifically like an organ transplant situation his wife had as well. So I'm curious if the correlation is like, that's why he's like the second in command, because they have such similar stories. It might have been like this guy's wife that needed a kidney implant. So maybe that's also why him and Inho are like, why he's kind of like second in command to Inho in a lot of ways. Maybe. It's just interesting that, once again, everyone here has kind of got a common enough story of like some stuff that they've got back home waiting for them, or whether it's family, whether it's kids, whether it's a sick mom type of situation or sick loved one, whatever the case may be. It's sadly, it's a too common story because everyone's pulled from a pool of these people are desperate and do have something to go. There's a little selfishness, but there's also the selflessness of I'm doing this for other people, but I'm also doing it for myself. So it's just the inherent duality of this situation. But either way, like he stabs, like I'm assuming that would be her kidney just to kind of make the point poetic. But he gets distracted when he gets called and he's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna be up there in a second." And she's crawling away. He's like, "What are you doing? Do you think you're gonna get away? That elevator can't go anywhere without my permission. It needs my access." And then as she's desperately opening the elevator, the idiot completely forgot. I was like, I know what she's going for. It's the gun, because it's literally still in the elevator because the elevator didn't go anywhere. And so in that moment, he's rushing towards her, jumping, leaping at her, and she lit him up. I also think it's really smart what she did, where she basically put his body on the elevator doors, because now they can't close. No one can follow her up to that room. So you don't have to worry about getting surprised by anyone. So good on her. So we do see she made her way down to the file room and she found 246's file. So that's where her story ends on that front. Speaking of 246, he's making his escape, but he's being followed, and the end result is runs out of ammo after taking out one guy. The boat's engine's been shot. It seems like he's dead to rights until Detective Wong and that mercenary guy come to the rescue and kill the last two people. So cool. Now he can point them in the direction of the island. Granted, it's foggy, but it's like he's probably been going pretty straight since he left. So he just had to point them like in this direction. They'll probably look at the map. It's like, okay, roughly estimates are like, okay, there's probably only one island in that direction. Which also, Inho did call his brother this episode and it was like, oh, turn back. He's like, if you try to like uncover the secrets of this game, you will die. Once again, there's too much money and too much power backing it. Even if you stop these games in particular, these are, as we can tell, these aren't even the same VIPs from 3 years ago, from season 1. These aren't the same VIPs. So God knows how many other VIPs are involved. Like I said, there's so much money and powerful people. There is a larger conversation of, well, this is just in Korea. There's been all these games running. God knows how many other games might be running out there in the world. This is a larger system at play here, right? So there's that situation in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, either way, Detective Wong's takeaway from all this was, well, if you're saying I'll die, the only way I'll die is if you'll have to kill me yourself. And Inho doesn't say anything, but it's like he might have no choice but to do it himself. I'm curious to see how that will end. Will Inho have to kill his brother? But most likely Huang will probably have to like put his brother down. It's like it'll be the inverse of season 1, but it's like instead of like making sure you survive and arresting you, it's like, well, Inho will probably end up killing himself because he'd probably rather die than put him, because it's like, yeah, if I go to jail, they're going to get to me to kill me, to keep me hushed anyway. So to kind of protect the sanctity of the game and make it easier, I'm just probably going to take my own life. I could see that being the case. We'll have to wait and see. But the main crux of this episode revolves around picking up where last episode left off. Gi-hoon has a choice. Is he going to do what Inho told him, like as a suggestion, like do what's right for you and the baby, go around and kill everyone else? And as Gi-hoon's doing it, we see the cut back and forth that Inho was given the exact same choice. Now, once again, I don't know if Gi-hoon's the only one who's ever come back before. I don't know if Inho had come back previously, came back again. I feel like it would have been in the records that his brother found, so it's probably a thing of he won, and then this is where he is currently. But either way, we saw that when Inho was given the choice, he did it. It wasn't just one guy. We saw at least 5 people in total he killed. That was one side of the room. God knows if he killed anyone else on the other side of the room. But yeah, he killed them because it's like, hey, kill them before they kill you type of situation. So he was also there to witness the fact is that at the end of the day, Gi-hoon didn't do it during season 1. He didn't kill Saebyeok. He didn't kill Sungwoo because Saebyeok stopped him. Even in the final game, he didn't do it. Sungwoo killed himself. And when the time came, and I love it. I love that they did this because I kept referencing it. Saebyeok stopped him from doing it before. And just when he's about to do it, he sees Saebyeok say, don't do it. You're not that kind of person. And that stops him from doing it. And I legitimately can't tell from Inho's face whether he's disappointed or sad that disappointed or happy that Gi-hoon didn't do it, because if there's that face gives you nothing, because it could go either way. Either he's like, I wanted to prove a point that you are just like me, that you're not better than me, that people suck, people will always do the shitty thing when the time comes, because that's what people are at their nature. Once again, he has a very pessimistic and jaded view of humanity. Of course, going through what he's going through both in the game and his reason for going through the game would make you jaded. Like Gi-hoon, despite everything he's been through, yes, he came here to get revenge, but he also tried to save lives in the process. He tries to, time and time again, to do the right thing. He's on the right side of things. He shows the good in humanity, and he's witnessed the good in humanity time and time again. While also at the same time and time again, seeing the shitty side of humanity. It's not one without the other. Because it's something I didn't think about too. No, it's something I thought about last episode, but I forgot to talk about it, was when I was talking about witnessing the good in humanity. His final bet with Ilnam last season, at the end of season 1's finale, he won his bet because who's going to help that person, and someone came back with the police to help. So that's another prime example of that. He does believe in the good of people, because Ilnam and him had that final bet, and now we have this situation, kind of repeating itself, where it's like, I'm trying to see whether your bet will turn out to be correct or not. So, and that's even more true by the end of this episode. We'll get to it when we get to it. So, none of them, especially 100, will ever know how close he was to dying in his sleep, because Gi-hoon could have, but his conscience got the best of him. Like what Sae-byeok said to him 3 years ago resonated even more so in this situation, and he chose not to go down that route. Because I'm not them. I don't have to be them. I can find, there has to be another way out of this. So they make their way to the final game. And the final game, I was like, figured it wasn't Squid Game, because it needs more than 2 people. So we see these giant pillars. I'm like, what the hell is this? They go up one, and at the top, and it's the different shapes, triangle, circle, square, and they call it Sky Squid Game. I was like, fuck you, that's good. So it is still Squid Game. It's not the full run. It's how Squid Game's normally done, but it still has the principle of part of Squid Game's game. Part of it is offensive defense, but part of it is pushing your opponent out of a certain boundary, and that's applicable here. The point of this game is, once the timer starts, you have to push one or more people off. Once you, at minimum, you need to kill one person, and once you push them off, you can proceed to the next area. But they also say you need to kill someone. If no one's killed in that time frame, then everyone dies and everyone loses. They do also specify the person has to be alive when they get pushed off. You can't kill someone and then toss them off. That doesn't count, which also plays into the end of the episode. That's something to keep in mind. They specifically said push, so I don't think suicide would count, which is what I thought was going to happen with Minsu, but I don't think suicide would count. I think it'd in an effed up way, for anyone that's trying to survive, it's one less body for you to use. That's one less sacrifice you have, in the clip, in the chamber. So, and you have this piece of shit mentality between our group of 6, 100 and his cronies, where it's hey, we're going to vote, we're going to democratic process and stuff like that. They're all giddy and we're going to be democratic about murdering somebody. It's in their mind, it's it makes us more civilized. We're not barbarians, because in their mind, it's we're different from the people that are just going to straight up kill us. This is just how we survive. It's yes, but don't try to pretty it up. Don't try and not glamorize it, but make it seem more give it a more positive spin of we came to a vote and we made this unanimous decision. It's that makes you shitty, because if you're going to do it. Don't try and mess around and pussyfoot around and try to make it seem like it's more than it is. You're making a choice, stick with it, and because if you really were trying to be all fair, you let it ride as it is in the regards of anyone's up for game. But no, you 6 are no, we're in this together. But that's the thing when it comes down to things with a lot of money at stake. When your life is on the line, you're willing to throw anyone under the bus, because they're all snakes. In particular, 203. I forgot to talk about it in episode 4, but no, it was episode 5. Not episode. No, it was episode 4. Sorry, I'm scrambling a little bit. Sorry. when he like the lady was trying to turn back at the jump rope and make it way her way back to the bridge, what did he do? He kicked her and he killed her. So once again, at least no one on the winning side that had already crossed did something like that. But he was kind of like the Diaksu, the gangster dude. He kind of fills that role a little bit. Um, so yeah, so these aren't the greatest people anyway. And obviously you have Mitsu over there going through withdrawal, losing his mind, seeing Thanos is like, yo, Mitsu, my boy. Then he sees Gamyu. They're both tugging at him. He's losing his mind. And, Myungi is the one that steps up. Hey, hey, let's not kill the baby or 456 yet. Because if we kill both of them, we're going to be wasting it. And obviously that guy's not going to give up the baby. They're like, of course he will. But then another person, no, 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 wait, wait, wait. This is still the same guy that took that baby across the jump rope. So he won't give up the baby easy. It's like, all right, all right. So next round, we'll try and separate him. Who we'll go after now is the easy target, Minsu. And Minsu's like, no, get away. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what did I ever do? He's kind of like, yeah, life is always this way. He was always kind of like the loser and always picked on, I'm sure. And obviously that's reflected in like his time in the Squid Games. But the fact is that Myungi's like, I'm sorry, this is just how it's got to be. And then obviously his last moments, he sees Simi, who's like reaching her hand, is like, come on, join me. And so at least he has that before he dies. It's at least a little alleviation at the end, because of his guilt over like letting her die and choosing Thanos and Namgyu over her. Like that stayed with him. And so I don't know. Did he do the worst thing? Was he the worst person here? No. In fact, you do feel a little bad for him, but he's like, I was just trying to do my best here at the game, and just like anyone, self-preservation, and yeah, he did some shitty things, but in the grand scheme of everyone else, he's definitely on the lower end of the totem pole of shitty things people have done in this game. So yeah, he didn't always have Simi's back. Yeah, he kind of sadly hid while she was murdered by Namgi, but it doesn't make him a horrendous person. It kind of sucks, but it doesn't make him like the worst person ever. So also, it was Myungi who came up with the whole like, hey, let's use the pole here. That's probably why it's here, because hey, if we get too close, there's a good chance he might pull one of us down with him, because he's not going to go down without a struggle. But luckily he's high and he's seeing Sumi, so he just kind of accepts as is, and like he's grabbing the pole. But I was like, oh, you probably have to worry about that. But it's like, no, he tumbles with the pole. It's like, oh, cool. Now we pass. Let's move on to the next section. And now we have to vote like, okay, so what are we going to do about the baby and this guy? So it's like, all right, one of the guys step forward, like, all right, I'll do it. And he's got the pole and everything. And Gi-hoon kind of gets inside his head. It's like, okay, you go ahead and push me. But when you push me, it's going to be me and the baby. Meaning, when the time comes, one of you is going to have to turn against each other now. And oh, look behind you. They're already plotting. They're already get rid of you. And the guy's like, no, I'm not going to do it. So it turns into a rock, paper, scissors thing. And I forgot what number it was, but it was that guy, some guy at 100. And 101, and it's like, okay, it's got to be this guy. So they're tying all their coats together, and he's going to try and, like, the point was probably like, hey, let's separate you and the baby. Let's put the baby on the pole first and then toss it, or at the very least push 456 away after we get the baby. Because the whole conversation being like, no, we don't want to do this. I mean, it's what we got to do. They said this previously on the first platform, but it's like, we're not monsters. We're not terrible people. It's like, yes, you're gun-ho about killing a baby. This ain't even your first time being gun-ho about killing a baby. You were literally so like, yeah, let's do it. Last episode, you weren't even in the middle of a game and you were gun-ho about killing a baby over the money. There's billions on the line that you literally will all walk away with multiple billions. Even if you translate into dollars, it's still double-digit American dollars. It's still double-digit millions they're walking away with. So, but yeah, like you're all walking away with a lot of money still. But once again, that greed up. But there's more at play here. How unfair it is. The baby, yada yada yada. Shut up. So they're trying to play like, oh, we don't want to kill the baby. But we don't really have much choice. This is all we can do. And it's like, well, we'll see how that fares for you in the future. Spoilers, not good, obviously. But yeah, when it came to this next guy, Um, because they're like trying to say like, oh no, we'll vote. Whoever loses will be the person wins. So this way we can make it a fair shot. And Gi-hoon's like, all right, give me the things. They're like, what? No, pass me the things, and I will. You'll leave it up to me to pick, right? So give me the cloths. And it's like, okay, sure, pass it to him. And in that moment, the guy tries to tackle Gi-hoon. Luckily, Gi-hoon has the knife. I was like, are you gonna just straight up kill the guy? But I was like, well, you could always just cut the coat. The guy in the back 39 could always fall off. He came close, but didn't. I was like, I thought that'd be the roundabout way. Once again, I don't know how that would count if he fell on his own, because I don't think that would technically count. But either way, Gi-hoon cuts the jackets. They fall back, and it turns into a tussle, and the guy's like, please let me live. And Myung-gi's there, and he pushes the guy off instead of Gi-hoon, and then he reveals, hey, I'm the baby daddy. I was like, that's why I suggested killing Mitsu first, because I was trying to look after you and the baby. And then Gi-hoon pieces together when he's like, I wanted to get out of here with Junhee, but she didn't want to listen to me. And he remembers during the jump rope game them talking. So it's like, oh. And now the others are like, oh, because the others were saying like he could be a liar. Now the VIPs are eating this up. They're like, oh my God, you had the dad, the mom, and the baby participate. Hell, we even had a mom and son combo with the old, Gyeomja and Yongsik. So it's like, oh my God, how scandalous. Oh, the pool of people chosen for this game is scandalous and delectable, the drama. Yada, yada, yada. So on and so forth. But now that's been taken care of, our four like, hey, now that guy's been taken care of, it's all good. It's all Gucci. Like, we'll actually make a vote to see who actually goes next time. But Myung-gi's like, no, we don't have to do that. You and me, we had the weapons. We also can't trust those guys because they'll turn on us the moment they get a chance. And Myung-gi's like, yo, trust me, please. And it's like, Jesus, can you trust a guy? The baby mama didn't even trust him, didn't even want to. He's here, and she's still at the end. You know that she talked to him before she killed herself, and she still chose you to be the one to look after her baby, meaning you can't fully trust the guy. So some of that's going through Gi-hoon's like mind, but then it turns into, oh, their plan initially was, hey, let's beat the ever-living shit out of 39. Which, side note, I should also ask, is that guy from Sweet Home 2? I swear he looks like one of the characters. I'm blanking on his character's name. Spoilers. He's the guy that has an off-screen death. It's kind of like, it just happens like off-screen, but like he's in a situation at the end of season 2, and then you get to season 3, and they just kind of mention like, he's dead. It happened off-screen, but like you kind of know how he died. I can't remember his character's name. He's the dude with glasses, if that narrows it down. Like I said, I can't think of his character's name off the top of my head. It looks like that could be the same actor, but I'm not 100% sure. If that was, I was like, oh. I mean, once again, there's like so many like familiar faces. Like if you're familiar with Korean like K-dramas in general, like you'll see a lot of familiar faces. I'm like, oh, I mean, it's just like recognizing like an actor from your respective country and other stuff too. But it's like, once again, a lot of these faces aren't that familiar to me because I haven't watched a lot of K-dramas, but I do recognize certain faces. Once again, like 246, I've seen that actor in 3 different. This is the 3rd Korean drama I've seen that actor in who plays 246. It was this, Sweet Home, and Bugaso, Immortal Souls. Funny enough, all 3 Netflix Korean shows. Either way, I went on a massive tangent. I do apologize. Their new plan is, hey, let's beat him to a bloody pulp, and then when we get to the 3rd platform, we can toss his body, and then all 4 of us, I mean, 5 of us can, no, it'd be like, no, all 5 of us, I mean, 6 of us, oh man, 100 has to constantly correct himself to include the baby. It's like, that way we all win, but yeah, that was kind of not going to be a viable option because it, like I said, Myung-gi was kind of like, no. And so is Gion, and the moment it turns into a full-blown tussle. Because, no, what happened was Gion was like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, we're going to vote again. You know, because he's not all for just sacrificing this guy. It's like, well, you guys are, you pieces of shit that beat him up and want this to be. It's like, no, we'll make it fair and square and we'll do this. But that, like, because Myung-gi was probably considering it because it was the easiest option. So he was distracted because he was actually considering like, no, let this guy be the lunchbox. Because like, do we really have to go through like the raffle, like, you know, picking between those straps of like who, you know, so. But it ends with a tussle, Gi-hoon versus, was it 203? and one of the other guys, the only one that doesn't get involved is 100. He's in the background. I was kind of nervous because I'm like, the moment your back is turned, there's a good chance that bastard might come over and kill you. But he's never directly killed anyone. He's indirectly killed people, like in the tag game. You know, he was indirectly responsible for killing people. Like he got 44 killed because he left her behind. The other person, the dude he was working with, he kept him in the room and left him to get murked. So either way, Gi-hoon ends up killing 203, self-defense purely. So it's funny considering like the last game he didn't kill Song-woo in the at the end of season 1, and that involved knives and stuff. So for him to like kill this guy with the knife he had, stabbed him, in fact brought the knife closer to him, he's like, well, it's do or die in a situation. So like I said, directly going out of his way to kill someone, it's still one asterisk because this was self-defense. So once again, him killing Daeho, it's do or die. You kind of have no choice. You have to kill someone. It's the name of the game. So that one, you know, you can't. That's why you still put an asterisk beside it because, like I said, it's indirectly responsible for some deaths, and in this case, you killed a guy in self-defense. So I'd still say he's at a 1 when it comes to like intentional murder. So. The guy Myung-gi's struggling with, he ends up pushing him over, and then finally it comes down to 100, and he's like, hey, it could be the 4 of us, because this guy's still our lunchbox, we can toss him, we all walk away. He's like, it's 11 point some bill, it's all good, right? He's like, do you want more? You could have more of my share. And then what does Myung-gi say? He's like, nah, 15 point something sounds even better, and pushes him. Yo, they went out of the way to make his even more brutal, because when you look, his literal head busted open. There's skull and like it's mainly brain matter. It looks like it's mixed in there, but it's also Myung-gi's undoing, because it's like, well, you probably should have left 100 alive, because now 39 ends up killing himself because he's like, I don't want to be your lunchbox. It's like, well, you're gonna die either way, but I think there's a little bit of an extra effed upness of, hey, we're gonna drag you over to this platform to sacrifice you. I think it's also a little bit of a middle finger of like, I'm out, but I'm also like sticking it to both of you, so you two can talk it out. And now Myung-gi and Gi-hoon and the baby are all that's left. Now the conversation is going to be like, when it's all said and done, hey, I'm the father, you should sacrifice yourself for me, I'll make sure me and my baby get out of here. But once again, I go back to it. Even at the end, Junhee still chose you over her baby daddy. 2, when Myung-gi and that guy were talking, not once did he go like, oh, like, I'm doing this for my baby. Even though he claims that to Gi-hoon, when he was talking to 100, what did he say? 15 point something sounds better. Showing you the money's his biggest motivation. Like, I said it previously, I wanted Myung-gi to like be selfless. Hopefully, fingers crossed with the series finale, he proves to be selfless. We'll see whether or not he'll be a tricky son of a bitch, or whether he'll come through and like choose to volunteer to let Gi-hoon get out of there with the baby. But at the end of the day, it's self-preservation. This probably won't play out because Sungwon, and at least he took his life in the end, so there's a little tiny bit of redemption in that. We're going to see Myung-gi's true colors, and we already have, but he's going to prove how much of a piece of shit he was the entire time, because he's going to be like, me and the baby, let's get out of here, you sacrifice yourself. But at the end of the day, Gi-hoon's going to have to decide, is that what's best for the baby? Because once again, third time I'm mentioning it, Junhee didn't choose him, she chose you. So you also have to take, how much of a piece of shit is he if she chose you, a stranger, someone she doesn't even really know, yet she knows him and still chose you. So we shall see where the hell this all wraps up next episode. What the end result of this is going to be with the series finale, how this game will end. Like I said, I am hoping that Myung-gi will do the selfless thing and not be a selfish prick by the end. Maybe a conversation with Gi-hoon will make him go, hey, I won't be a piece of shit. Maybe Gi-hoon can like show, like, maybe that conversation can prove either it's going to be the moral thing that's going to show either how In-ho is correct about people, or Gi-hoon is to have more faith in people. We shall see how this all fares and how this all plays out in the series finale. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and Goodbye.